DIYs are all about using fabric for decorating. So I'm starting out with this white felt that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to use another item from the Dollar Tree, a decorative Valentine's Day plaque. They have these for different occasions and you can use them for all kinds of multiple uses. We'll use the felt to make some fabric flowers, and I'll be using the same technique that I used when I made magazine flowers a few videos back. I cut 3 strips of the felt roughly 6 inches wide. Then I cut each of those in half to make 6 squares total. The 6 squares will become 6 flowers, and they'll all be about the same size because our squares were all the same size. The next step is to cut the corners off of the squares, making circles. Once you have the circle, then cut into the circle, spiraling around, leaving about a ½ inch on the side until you get all the way to the center. Cut the pointy end off to make a straight edge. Then using hot glue to secure it down, roll the felt back up into a flower. And keep using hot glue as you go along, rolling the felt up. When you get to the end, you'll have the flap that was the center of your circle and just hot glue it to the bottom like a base. And this is what they look like when they're in their flower shapes. Next, we'll work on the plaque that the flowers are going to go in. If your plaque has any embellishments that keep the surface from being completely flat, then you will remove that. You have some options as to what you want to do for the inside of the plaque. You could paint it, you could use scrapbook paper, but today I'm using this wallpaper from the Dollar Tree. I measured the inside of the plaque and cut a piece to fit. And the reason I picked to use this wallpaper today is because it's already sticky. All you have to do is remove the backing and stick it down inside the plaque. And the last step is simply to add your flowers and hot glue them, and I just did simple rows of 3. And I just love how simple this is, and it gives such a homespun feel. If you haven't guessed it by now, I'm kind of big on keeping my nails done, and it's expensive to go out and get manicures, so I'm showing you another budget-friendly option for keeping your nails really beautiful at home, and it's using these Color Street nail wraps. They are 100% real nail polish, and they're really easy to apply. It's pretty much just peel and stick, and I'll show you a little bit about how I did with these Valentine ones I ordered. So here I am in my fluffy pink robe because when I'm doing self-care, I like to be comfortable. So I'll show you what comes inside your Color Street package when it arrives. You get 16 nail strips, and this is an alcohol prep pad to clean your nails, and this is the file you'll use when applying, and I'll show you just how I did it. These are the Valentine ones I picked out, but they have so many colors and choices and patterns to choose. And inside the packaging are good detailed instructions. I bought 2 sets so that I could have an accent nail. After cleaning your nails with the prep pad that's included, then you'll decide what size nail you want to go on each finger and peel the backing away. Then stick the nail strip down on top of your fingernail. Stretch the strip over the end of the nail and file off the excess. And you can save the unused portion for another manicure later on. I usually get about 2 weeks wear out of these, and even longer if I put a gel cure over the top. Prices range between $11 and $14 a set, and as I said before, they have lots of colors and patterns and fun things to choose from, including nail strips for your toes. I've got the hookup for you with my stylist. Her name is Ashton Greer, and her website and Facebook page will be in my description box below, so you can go and get your own Color Street nail strip set. On with the fabric decorating, I have another long piece of that felt fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use a wooden dowel, and this time we're going to create a long flower, and that dowel is going to be the stem. So the first thing you need to do is hot glue this felt piece and double it over in half. Then use a sharp pair of scissors to cut slits into the folded edge. Put a dollop of hot glue on the end of the felt piece, and then use your dowel rod to stick onto the end and roll it up at the top. After the hot glue has set, then begin twisting the dowel rod and rolling that felt piece down the length of your stem. And see how this kind of looks like a lavender stem? In fact, you could even use purple felt and it could be lavender. Keep on twisting until you get to the end of the felt and then hot glue it in place. And so I made 3, and I love doing them with the white felt. Imagine this with pink and green and all sorts of other colors. Now I needed something cute to put them in, and I had this metal pitcher that I got at Hobby Lobby for half off, so I think it was about $3.50. I'm going to snazzy up the little pitcher using some of this ribbon from Michaels. And then I'm also going to use some fabric ribbon that I got from the Burlap Fabric Company. I hot glued those ribbons around the metal pitcher, and I added my homemade flowers, and I'm so happy with the cute results. Since I had that fabric ribbon out in the last DIY, I was inspired to use it somehow in recovering this Dollar Tree notebook. The first thing I needed to do was remove the elastic band, which easily just came right off, and then I also needed to remove the metal pieces that held that elastic band in place, and they easily popped off using my scissors. Since you'll be covering this notebook, you need your surface to be flat and smooth. That's why we're removing all these pieces. And again, I'm using what was left of that one piece that was only $1 at the Dollar Tree. Well, actually $1.25. The one piece of self-adhesive wallpaper, and that's going to be our new notebook cover. I cut a piece of the wallpaper to fit around the notebook with a little overlapping on the edges. Then remove the backing off of the wallpaper and put your notebook down on top of it. And I like to do this one side at a time, so I put one side down first and I stick it down using firm pressure with my hands, and then I also like to use my Cricut scraper to burnish it down even more so we make sure it's nice and stuck. Then I use my scissors to cut the corners, and this is so that we have an easier time folding it around the notebook. Then I lay the back side down and press it down firmly, the same as I did the front. And trim the corners, and then you can begin folding it into place. I did cut a little notch out on each end where the book binding is so that I would be able to fold it nicely on both sides. I trimmed the little notch so it would be the perfect size to fit inside the binding without messing up the pages. Now that we have the book wrapped, we can decorate it, and these are the items I'm using to decorate it. I have some fabric ribbon from the Burlap Fabric Company, and I have some little scrapbook pieces that I ordered off of Amazon, and I'm going to put them in my Amazon store because they are so pretty. I think that you guys would enjoy using them too, and I'll have a link for them in my description box. I cut a piece of the fabric ribbon to wrap around the front of the book, and I hot glued it in place. I arranged the scrapbook paper pieces the way I wanted them to look on the front, and I used this clear craft glue from the Dollar Tree to stick them down. And I also used a paintbrush to paint that glue on so that it wouldn't be too gloppy. I wanted it to be as thin as I possibly could make it. Of course, you have a world just full of options on how you would like to decorate these kind of little notebooks. This is the way that I went, but oh my goodness, there are so many cute products at the Dollar Tree, and they have nice stickers and little wood cutouts that could embellish these kind of things very nicely. And here she is, all complete and looking very cute, and all inspired by a little piece of fabric ribbon. In this DIY, I'm using some fabric that is actually a tablecloth I bought at the Dollar General store and a picture frame from the Dollar Tree. I used the backing of the picture frame so that I could trace out a piece and cut it out to go inside of the frame. If your fabric is wrinkly like mine was, because I've had this stashed away for some time, and I've used pieces off of this tablecloth in many DIYs, so it was well worth the $8 I paid for it. But if it's wrinkly, you'll want to run an iron over it. To decorate the fabric, I'm going to use this rubber stamp that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, I believe, and it's going to be stamped right into the middle. But the thing about it is this picture frame did come with a nice mat, so I want to include the mat when I'm planning out where I'm going to put my stamp so that I'm sure that it will be all centered correctly. This is the black ink that I like to use, and my technique for using a rubber stamp, I don't know that it's the correct way or not, but it's the way I've found works best for me, is to actually rub the ink onto the stamp instead of pressing the stamp down into the ink. That way I don't get so many smears and globs. And this is the first time I've ever tried to use a rubber stamp and ink on fabric, so I really had no idea what to expect. When I pulled the rubber stamp back up, it looked pretty faded, and in some applications I think that would be really super cute, but in this instance I kind of wanted those words to pop more. So I went back over them with a fine point Sharpie pen. I put a dot of hot glue in each of the corners of the backing and attached the fabric so that it would stay exactly where I wanted it inside of the frame. Then put the pieces all back together inside of the picture frame. I will warn you that if you use this exact picture frame from the Dollar Tree, or any of the frames from the Dollar Tree for that matter, be gentle with the tabs because they do easily break off. I had a couple do that. You could stop right here and it's a really pretty piece, but I just wanted to add one more tiny thing. I wanted to use some more of that pretty fabric ribbon. I hot glued some to a couple of the corners and cut off the excess, and then I called this project complete. Now let's take a look back at all our beautiful fabric decorations today. Thanks for watching my video today, sweet friends. I hope you liked it as much as I liked putting it together. And if you want to see more DIYs, just click the link that I provided for you here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!